Hey everybody, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're going to move back into our normal format, giving you guys short series of very specific topics. This week, we're going to be talking about how to be aggressive with your peaking approach. And that means different things for different body types and different contexts. So the first one, Adam, is how to be aggressively lean. I have a client right now, just one of the best physiques you'll ever see, amazing size, symmetry, and we just need to be a little bit tighter. We're not quite there. We can't do any reversing up metabolic building. A progressive linear load may not even be in the cards because we just have to err on the side of getting lean. So I'm curious, is that a place where you still just titrate up a little bit and try and maximize some fullness, or do you say no, we're just plowing in, we're going for every line we can get?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of described interestingly because, you think aggressively lean, you start thinking maybe doing hours of cardio or, going the opposite direction of a peak week. But the thing is, you're going to have a ton of body inflammation that way. You're also going to be flat, which would cause less lines to appear. So you really have to ride a more of a balance versus an aggression there. And so I've actually had people like this, and it always seems like, just like you described, those bodybuilders that are huge that just need a little bit more tightness. So usually the front end of the week, I'll allow them to grind a little bit, maybe Monday through or Saturday through essentially Monday, assuming a Saturday show. I'll allow them to kind of grind those days, keep the cardio high, but you really want to focus on recovery, just enough fullness so you're not getting over to spillover. And so you're almost blowing the air in the balloon, aka the muscle tissue there, to push up against the skin of the muscle to create that leanness and tightness. But you can use those first few days for some additional fat loss and be able to recover from it in time for the show. I'd say a really sticky situation or maybe more aggressive, I might let that person have a Tuesday or maybe even a Wednesday kind of high. If I feel like they have kind of a slower met rate, and it might not take them a long time to fill out. But I would say, just kind of a standard protocol for our listeners, maybe grinding them in until about Monday, especially if it's a first peak scenario. You really don't want to guess too much and only rely on just those last couple days.
Yeah, and I'm glad you threw in at the end there the fact that there are some body types where they just really may not need that much of a fullness impact. And I count myself among those, in that if when I stay just pretty consistent, pretty tight, I'm not moving my carbs, my calories up that much. I just don't need that much toward the end. And so for me, being aggressive, it's almost aggressively disciplined to try to not look for that magic bullet at the end.
Right, absolutely.
What do you think about bikini competitors, people who just don't necessarily need a ton of fullness? Do you still just kind of err on the side of let's stay tight, and aggressive to them may not mean being aggressively full?
Yeah, sometimes clients like that, it could be maybe more a lack of activity move versus a raised food move. So, essentially, I've even done this with clients where they store too much on the refeed. So we end up just doing non-activity days versus the refeed, because essentially calories in, calories out, that kind of spares them, the glycogen depletion. So that is another kind of a gentle way to peak a very sensitive person in. So that's definitely another great option.
Mhm. And I'll close this out with just that comment, in that sometimes the aggressive mindset is to be aggressively smart, so to speak, and just not to try to throw too many variables up in the air. And for those bikini competitors, for example, sometimes aggressively tight is. I mean, when you look at yourself in the last few weeks of your prep, you look great. You have some days where you look fuller than others. You're it's just right there under the surface, and you just don't have to really push for fullness, which we will talk about upcoming in the series, but sometimes aggressively lean is the right call. We'll see you guys next time in Contest Prep University.